And welcome into the Monday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. Property managers, if you manage it, they maintain it. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com for more information. Joe Rexrode, happy Monday morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. It's a heck of a Monday in this country, and it's way too cold of a Monday in this city, which I'm trusting this is it, right?
I hope so. I mean, the rest of this week looks better for sure. I'm sure that we're going to get, like a 2-week stretch in March where it just feels cold all the time, because typically that happens. Every now and then we get a couple in April too, where it's like, wow, it's been cold in April for 7 days in a row. What's going on around here?
But not 20, right? We're not going to get 20.
I hope not.
Yeah, I thought we were done with this, but a little bit of shock to the system today, but doing all right.
Ian Safar, how we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Doing just fine, thanks. Good weekend. Saturday, got outside some, did some park stuff while it was nice, got the kiddos out. Yesterday, mostly inside, hung out, watched some stuff, but happy Monday, doing great.
We got a lot going on the program today. Alex Doherty will be with us at 7:30. We'll get into Team USA's win against Canada with him and look ahead to what is going to be a very quick trade deadline that is approaching for the Nashville Predators. All that coming up later in the show. Corey Curtis for his weekly visit at 8 o'clock. Tennessee gets the win on the road against Vanderbilt over the weekend. We will get into that a little bit later in the show as well. But, Joe, let's begin with Kenny Albert's marvelous call from yesterday's 2-1 win for the United States of America against Team Canada in overtime.
Here's McDavid moving in on Jack Hughes. Tries to slow him down. Puck lines up behind the net. And it's Werenski. Now Jack Hughes pokes it around the car. United States with numbers. Back across it comes. Jack Hughes wins it. The golden goal for the United States. For the first time since the 1980 miracle, the United States takes the gold. Jack Hughes beating Jordan Bennington.
Jack Hughes gets it done. Team USA wins the gold medal for the first time since 1980. And the Miracle on Ice, they take down Canada 2-1 in overtime yesterday. First off, Joe, Kenny Albert, absolute nails. Like, he's just awesome. And he was the entire Olympic tournament. He could not have called that better. Good stuff from Kenny Albert there. Connor Hellebuck, an absolute legendary performance yesterday that, it will go down obviously in Olympic lore and Team USA hockey history lore. Frankly, I think it changes a lot of the conversation on him and his entire career. What he did yesterday is unbelievable from Connor Hellebuck, and Jack Hughes gets the game winner. The United States wins the gold for the first time since the Miracle on Ice. What a game. What a time yesterday.
Incredible. I mean, it really, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I mean, for a while that game, I was like, I don't know that I've seen a hockey game like this. Like, I think it was the fastest game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Am I overreacting to that in the moment?
I don't think so.
I mean, it was unbelievable. I watched some college hockey, and I understand even college hockey in the NHL. Even now, there's a big difference. It's the gap's got a little closer, but I just watched a little bit on Thursday or Friday. And then it's like you watch this and it's like, oh my God, it's hard to believe it's the same sport. It was an incredible game. Like you said, Hellebuck, unbelievable. I mean, you got a big David breakaway, you got a Celebrini breakaway, you got that paddle. I mean, he was, and you stop. I don't know if the 5-on-3, I don't remember if he had any incredible saves in the 5-on-3, but you stopped a 5-on-3 against that team.
Yeah.
Like a minute 44 of 5-on-3 or whatever it was. Just unbelievable, man. And I agree with you. I think, Albert was awesome. I mean, Tirico, the whole thing was, they did it exactly. They harkened back to 1980 really well. I've seen a lot of, kind of whining about, the 3-on-3 and everything. And it's like, well, we all agree that it's not ideal. But like you do with a 3-on-3, throw out McKinnon, McDavid, McCarr, right?
You lose me. Look, I don't love 3-on-3 overtime deciding a gold medal either. I don't, and we've talked about that heading in this. The Canadians lose me on that when you have McDavid, McKinnon, McCarr, Celebrini. Like, that should absolutely favor Canada. So if you're going to whine about it, maybe get 97 to put one in the back of the net a couple of times, you know?
And I mean, I just like the McKinnon quote, you judge who's, but like, there's no question. I mean, Canada dominated a lot of that game, but again, that's a goalie's part of your team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he made the difference. He was the equalizer and then some, right? I mean, that's what it is. Not that Bennington wasn't great himself, but I'm just saying, like, that's also part of a hockey team. It's kind of the most important part of the hockey team. And he made the difference. I don't think we can overstate how amazing Hellebuck was.
He made a ton of great saves. He made 4 or 5 that were just unbelievable. Like the paddle save, obviously, is what's going to get the.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy that he got the paddle on that. But he made. I mean, you're talking about world like McDavid and Celebrini and McKinnon, like from the slot where you're stopping most of these shots. Like Canada, from the second period on, Canada was an absolute machine. The U.S. was. They had a couple of moments in the game, but they were holding on. I mean, they were holding on for dear life. And they got, the power play opportunity at the end, the 4-minute. And then Jack Hughes took the high sticking penalty. And as soon as Canada got the power play there, I was like, oh boy, this is not going to go well. And then you find a way to drag it out. You get it to overtime. And 20 minutes on the clock for a 3-on-3 overtime of that skill level. I knew it wouldn't take very long. I was just wondering what it would be. It took less than 2 minutes, but it's just a heck of a play by Jack Hughes to chip it around there. And then Werenski basically just out muscling McKinnon to get the puck. That's great stuff there. And then, Jack Hughes made, I thought, leading up while they were on the power play, he tried to cut inside and basically go 1-on-3, and he lost the puck. Puck ends up in the corner, and he takes a high sticking penalty there. And I was like, oh no, man, like you're just trying to do too much. And then they kill that off. And he talked about that in the post game. He's like, I put us in a pickle there and they bailed us out there, but it was just when you get a world-class player that much room, as soon as he got the puck, I knew it was going in. Like, it was a great shot by Jack Hughes there. And the golden goal that, most of my life over the last few years, when you talk about Olympic hockey, Crosby's goal comes up, right? And Crosby's goal is, it's legendary. When, Sidney Crosby is going to end up being, when everything's said and done, probably one of the 5 greatest hockey players to ever play. And on the very short list of things that people are going to talk about when he gets done, even with the cups and all the points, are going to be the golden goal that he scored in Vancouver. And this is like the American version of that now. Like, is this Jack Hughes? This is the first time they've won an Olympic gold medal since 1980. It's 46-year drought. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, man. And it is. I do think it's just a huge deal for, just for American hockey at large, they talked a lot on the broadcast, about what 1980 did, obviously, no question. I think 1980 meant a lot for hockey in this country. I feel like you're already seeing, like, this team is already sort of the manifestation of what's been going on, right? I mean, like this team, Canada's a better team. Like, they're a more talented team. They controlled a lot of that game, but like, this also was not David Goliath. This is a great hockey team. And I feel like there's just got to be so many people who watch this game who weren't familiar with hockey. I assume that. If you watch that game, how do you not have, more appreciation for hockey? Like, how did it not earn and win over new fans yesterday? I have to imagine it did.
Yeah, you would have to think so. And look, with the way the game played out, Hellebuck stole the show, and he deserves all the credit that he's getting today. So let me start there. The most skilled play of the game was Boldy's goal by far. It's unbelievable, the goal that Matt Boldy scored in the first period. He chipped it around Devon Toews and Cale Makar, and in midair backhanded it back to himself and then scored on the breakaway.
That was
a heck of a play. It's just unbelievable skill on that play from Boldy there. By the way, John Hines, assistant coach of the Olympic gold medal team of Team USA. Coaches don't get any medals, but he was on the bench. So there you go.
I assume he coached Boldy up on that play, right?
have.
Probably
Yeah.
John Hines' influence.
Yeah, a lot of Minnesota Wild running around out there. No, it was unbelievable. The game itself, I was having this discussion yesterday. Was the actual game, in terms of just the way that it played out, was it better than 2010? I mean, if you're an American, yeah, right? Like you won the game. There was a lot of drama in 2010 too. I mean, Parise scored in 2010 with whatever it was, 30 seconds left, and tied it up. You get to overtime. It was a great game. So, was this the greatest game ever played? I don't know. I do think you're right. I do think it's probably the fastest game it's ever been played. And that's just, look at some of the players that were on the ice. I mean, it's McDavid and McKinnon and the Hughes brothers.
At max intensity.
At max intensity.
I mean, yeah.
It was awesome. And, I did see a lot of people who I know don't normally watch hockey watching this yesterday and be like, is this what this is all the time? And it's like, well,
yeah,
no, but this is the max level of what this is, and it's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, no, but okay, now check back in the spring and watch some playoff hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more people should love hockey. And so I hope that this leads to that because more people should love it.
One texter says, that was the best sporting event I've ever watched. Emotional, breathtaking, toughness from both sides. Lived up to every expectation. Matthew from Jolton says, the gold medal game crapped on the last 2 Super Bowls combined. David in Arkansas says, Hellebuck, truly amazing. 5-on-3 had me scared. He was a beast during that time. The win was one of the most amazing things I've seen in my lifetime. In sports, brought me tears of joy. It was awesome. Awesome stuff from Team USA yesterday. We'll take your thoughts on the Americans winning the gold medal for the first time since the Miracle on Ice in 1980. They take down Canada 2-1 in overtime yesterday. More coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Team USA wins the gold in best-on-best hockey. NHL players winning the gold for the first time is Team USA. Canada in 2010, Canada in 2014, and USA gets it done here in 2026. Taking your thoughts on that, 615-737-1025. It's just legendary stuff from Connor Hellebuck. I mean, he is, if he continued on and never did this, Joe, and say they never won anything of consequence in the NHL in Winnipeg, which they're probably not going to. By the time his career is over with, I mean, you're going to look at his numbers, and there's going to be a Hall of Fame case. Like he's going to end up with probably 400 something wins, which is an insane amount. I mean, he's already at 335. His career save percentage is 917, goals against 257. Like he's one of, if not the best goaltenders of this current generation. He's won the Vezina Trophy 3 times. Like he's going to have a Hall of Fame case anyway. Yesterday he's in. That's what yesterday did for him. He is a Hall of Famer now moving forward. I mean, that's kind of the from an individual standpoint on him. I think that punched his ticket yesterday. And then you get into what I saw some people kind of batting around yesterday. Like when you consider, American athletes, the stage of that game yesterday, when's the last time somebody played as well as he did yesterday, like in a high stakes situation? I think a lot of people's answer on that, Joe, was Steph Curry in the gold medal game against Paris.
Yeah.
Which is probably the one I'd go back to as well. But that's kind of what we were talking about yesterday of how good he was.
Incredible. And I think you're dead on. And look, it's a narrative changer for him because he has been, he's had some well-documented postseason struggles after incredible regular season performances. And that's not, you don't want to be known as the great player, except when the pressure's at its highest. And now, I mean, that's over.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, as we were talking about during the break, MVP, Connor McDavid, again, he's incredible at winning MVPs when not winning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough one for him. That's a tough one for, he is the best player. And there's no question about it, but this was I mean, you had the team to win here, and didn't.
I've said this before,
mean,
when you're talking pure ability, he's the best player I've ever seen. He's better than Crosby. He's better than and keep in mind, I was not alive for prime Wayne Gretzky, so I have no reference point to that. McDavid is the best player I have ever seen. But you are talking about it he has not won a cup yet. He's lost 2 cups in the cup final. He just lost and got a silver medal yesterday. I'm not pinning it all on him. But at some point he's going to have to start winning some of these things, right? If he's going to go down as one of the, 2 or 3 best players to ever play the game when it's all said and done, winning has to be part of that, right? It can't just be, and I know it's not people take it too far the other way sometimes where winning is the only thing that matters. It's not that. McDavid could retire right now, and I'd still make the argument to you that he was one of the 10 best players to ever play the game.
Sure.
But at some point, you're going to have to win one of these, aren't you?
Yeah, you would think. Yeah. Some people don't, some people don't win a championship who are great players. I always come back to Barkley, Charles Barkley, one of the greatest players I've ever seen. Never won a championship. I mean, it happens, but yeah, this team, because you could look at the Oilers and whatever. I mean, they've obviously they've had flaws, right? Yep. You could say he's elevated them to even getting them to the point where they'd be that close. But this team had everything. So yeah, he didn't win.
Well, and it's not even just he didn't have a point yesterday, and there have been some game 6s, game 7s in cup finals where he's, I don't know if disappeared is the right word, but he's not put up the numbers. Every time, in the NHL now, every time McDavid gets through a game and he doesn't have 2 or 3 points, I'm like, wow, did a pretty good job on McDavid, right? I think the Predators beat the Oilers a few weeks ago And one of Yossi's quotes after the game was like, "Yeah, we held McDavid to 2, so that's pretty good. Pretty good stuff out there." So, like, that's the type of player that he is. But, right before Hughes scored, he had 2 chances in overtime. Like, the Canada got the face-off, the opening face-off, and they take it back. They kind of wheel around, and they did it. And you could see it on, like, the top of the broadcast. McDavid wheels all the way from the blue line, all the way back through the neutral zone, up to the other blue line, and gets a full head of steam coming. And when he was, I was like, oh, my God, no. Like, I don't know what you do with that. And he whiffed on the shot. He got another chance right before Hughes got the puck and scored, where he drove it to the net, and Hellebuck stoned him and took him out. And then the U.S. went the other way. But, I mean, there were 2 chances in overtime where you had him barreling down on you with a full head of steam, and nothing.
Well, and
did not come through.
Yeah, the breakaway. Yeah, you made the point on Twitter, like, I mean, he tried to stuff it in there, but it's like you're watching that, and I was like, man, you have to shoot that.
Yeah.
You got, like, you have to pick a spot.
You kind of felt like he was waiting for Hellebuck to move, and Hellebuck didn't. He just stuck with him, and then he tried to stuff it at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you can't, I mean, break away in the gold medal game. Like, you got to, like, that's it. You got to do it.
Yeah. And, the McCard with a great shot. That was the one that got through Hellebuck and beat him there. But, Team USA, I thought the first period is pretty even. I mean, I don't remember what the shots ended up being. It was like 8-8 or something like that after the first. And, Team USA had a heck of a first shift. Canada took over for about the first 10 minutes.
Right away.
They did. And then Boldy scores the goal. And I thought for the last 5 minutes of the first period, USA, they could have scored 2 or 3 more. And that was it. Like, they didn't have anything for the next basically period and a half in that game.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, and for them to hold on the way again, I mean, you look at Hellebuck first. I mean, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
A lot of texts from people who had different, red, white, and blue beers. There's a lot of, I must say, I had some buddies who found a place that was open. They're sending me videos of, like, doing, like, shots of the big like board and everything. I celebrated the golden gold on a card on the way to church. I just wanted everybody to know, like, whoa, had it streaming in the car. So but Ryan in Florida says he couldn't watch it. He had church, but the preacher was giving score updates.
There you go.
That's nice.
No, I celebrated by screaming, and then my toddler started crying. So that's what I did. That's what I did yesterday. It was awesome. I mean, look, obviously, I have a background in hockey. I love hockey. I was thinking about this yesterday. I mean, it was one of the greatest sporting events of my life yesterday. It was awesome. I loved every second of it. The question now is, tangibly, what sort of impact does this have on the league, right? Because, I mean, look, all due respect to the Predators and the Blackhawks coming up on Thursday, like, the quality of hockey is not going to be the same, right? Like, it's not. You're going from the gold medal game to the NHL regular season. And look, I've said this before. The NHL right now, I think, is in the best spot it's ever been in. The quality of hockey is outstanding. I love it on a nightly basis. There's really good stuff going on out there. It ain't what we saw yesterday. So I do think, though, like, come playoff time, that's where I'm really interested to see. Like, are people all of a sudden going to be, like, huge Jack Hughes fans moving forward, or Quinn Hughes fans moving forward, or, like, what sort of, like, did individual players, like, none of those guys are Crosby, right? Like, I made the golden goal comparison earlier. Like, the Team USA doesn't have Sidney Crosby out there, but do you latch on to this team the way that we've seen in other sports teams get latched onto when you have the impact that they just had?
Yeah. I have to think there's some people who are, and I've seen some of it that are like, wow. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah, man. Like, give it a chance. I would have to think that'd be the case. The people of Winnipeg, that's an interesting, like, I mean, it's like,
throw another one at you. People of Toronto.
Yeah.
With Austin Matthews. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Can't win anything here. And he just leads them to gold.
Yeah, there is that for sure. I feel like some of the particular whining about the game seemed to come from, like, Toronto hockey media. But in Winnipeg, it's like, we love you, Connor. Did you really have to be that amazing? Like, did you really have to? And please, I will definitely be like, please, can we have some of that in the playoffs?
Yeah,
please.
just totally rip your heart out. And that's the thing.
No,
Like,
Winnipeg's not doing so.
yeah, they're
great
probably
this
not going to
year.
make it, which is the most amazing thing is, and I know he's been hurt for a decent chunk of this year too, but
next time they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, next time.
That's the expectation, Connor.
It's like, wow, you have to steal every game the way that you just played there. It was unbelievable stuff. And, some people were asking about, like obviously Crosby didn't play. How much of a difference would that make? I'm not going to sit here and act like Sidney Crosby couldn't have made a difference in the gold medal game. I mean, certainly it would have made a difference. But, would they win the game? I don't know. I mean, look, there were no shortage of great chances from great players that Canada had in that game, and they couldn't score. So I have no idea.
Yeah, players in their prime.
Yeah.
Who, like he's not. But, yeah, obviously he's the captain, and I've heard a lot during the tournament, the settling force out there. And I'm sure. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
Games happen all the time when teams don't have their full complement of players.
Yeah.
I mean, Predators didn't have Ryan Johansson in the Cup final. That same Cup final, the Penguins didn't have Chris Letang in the Cup final. I mean, there's games that happen all the time in hockey that you don't have your full complement of players.
Yeah, especially in sports like hockey and football.
Yeah.
Usually you look back at like a Super Bowl 10 years later, like, oh wow, they were missing this guy, and I forgot about that.
615-737-1025, our phone number. More of your thoughts on Team USA winning the gold. We will get into Joey Aguilar's decision that went down over the weekend a little bit later this hour as well. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Team USA wins the gold yesterday against Team Canada, 2-1 in overtime. Taking your thoughts on that. We will get into the Joey Aguilar situation coming up here in just a few minutes. Also, the Vols on the basketball front getting a big win at Vanderbilt over the weekend, so we'll get into that as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. One texter says, this win will affect USA hockey more than anything. Younger generation playing mini sticks will act as Jack and Quinn Hughes winning the gold medal for the next few decades. Another texter talking about the play that McAvoy made earlier in the game where Hellebuck was scrambling out of the net. McAvoy jumps in the crease, makes a save there. Big play in the game. Probably doesn't get enough credit. But, we said it, Joe, the strength of USA and why I was really intrigued in this matchup is if you're trying to go like fire wagon hockey back and forth, blow for blow with Team Canada and their forwards, that's not a very good formula. But the strength of USA was their goaltending and their defense. And I think you saw that yesterday Quinn Hughes makes a big difference back there. They didn't have him in Four Nations. He's pretty good. McAvoy got hurt in Four Nations. That's their top pair, Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy. It's pretty darn good, man. Like, it's a pretty darn good pairing. And their defense was on full display. Canada got their looks. Hellebuck had to be great. I also think Team USA did a good job for a lot of the game of like just limiting the damage when they were in the offensive zone, which is hard to do against that group of forwards.
Yeah. No doubt. Speaking of Jack Hughes, Ed on the YouTube chat says, good for Jack Hughes. The kid would get hurt walking in a field of daisies. The Mike Sullivan said after the game, they were talking about the construction of the team.
Yep.
He's like, so there's milk drinkers and whiskey drinkers. We got whiskey drinkers. I will say, I feel like Jack Hughes maybe needs to,
drink some milk.
Yeah. Well, or maybe needs to I don't know, put on a few pounds so he can handle his whiskey a little better. Those guys got after it.
Yeah, Quinn was feeling good on the
or Quinn too.
Both of them. Quinn was feeling good on the interview with Mike Tirico. There's no doubt about that. Floyd on YouTube says, my wife cares nothing about sports and asked me several times as he walked through the kitchen what the score was. That's a big game.
That's how you know.
A lot of my family doesn't love hockey in the same way I do, but they're all in for this. Like this, it's when it's best on best, and we've seen this in other sports, not just hockey. Like when it's best on best, I've seen some big soccer games. I'm not a huge soccer guy, but USA World Cup and a big game, I'll get into it. I think that's there's a lot of people yesterday that kind of fit into that category.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point because as I talk about, like, this should be something that I agree totally with, like kids and stuff, like pretending to be Jack Hughes and Quinn. I mean, I think that's obviously what you hope. But soccer, when you bring up soccer, I mean, that's exactly what I am. I'm like, I'm not a day-to-day soccer person. I don't think I ever will be. I respect it a lot, but yeah, I get into the big. I guess there's probably some people who are like that. Like, yeah, I mean, I'll get if Four Nations, happens again, or the next time there's Olympics, I'll be in. But I'm not gonna, follow hockey. I just would throw out there again, playoff hockey. Pick a series. If you find a game 7, watch it. I promise you, like it's really good stuff. I mean, there's nothing that you can quite. Again, there's just in sports, you so rarely have basically all-star games that matter, that matter so much, right? It's just hard to have both of those things together. So, there's nothing like this exactly.
I'll have more to say on this a little bit later in the show, but like, you can't tell me, like, if you're the NHL and you're the NHLPA and I know the NHLPA's wanted to do this the whole time. And look, we've talked about, Crosby got hurt, and he's not hurt that bad because he gave serious consideration of playing yesterday. So we'll see what that looks like. Obviously, Fiala got hurt. There is an inherent risk of sending your best players over in games that have nothing to do with the NHL. The guys are going to get hurt. And for the teams where that happens, it sucks. Like, it sucks for the Kings that Kevin Fiala is hurt for the rest of the regular season and is not going to be a part of their playoff push here. So I get that part of it. But you also can't tell me that on the whole, yesterday's not worth it. I mean, come on, man. Like, what? there's more eyeballs on your. I don't know what the numbers are going to end up being. I'm sure it'll probably come out today. Is it going to be more than it was in 2010? I don't know. I mean, 2010, I think, if memory serves me correctly, the game was at like 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon, and yesterday was 7 in the morning. So it may not be. I don't know, but I know this from both the game going on yesterday and the aftermath of it, and how many people were talking about it that have never talked about hockey in my life. You can't tell me that's not worth it. I mean, you just can't. I'm sorry.
I agree. And and really what is needed is as much tangible evidence as possible. The ratings will be one thing, but that's what's important. I mean, because I'll go back to, again, David Poyle, when they didn't go back in 2018, he's like, show me, like, what? And again, I'm like, no, what are you talking about? Come on, but as much tangible evidence of that as possible, the better. Kate out on the YouTube chat says, my mother-in-law told me she watched her first full hockey game and was interested in watching more. There we go.
Yeah.
How about these pictures from Hughes with no teeth?
Yeah.
I mean, all-time stuff, right?
The photo of him with the teeth out, with the flag draped over his shoulder. I mean, if that's like all-time stuff right there.
Yeah. Speaking of all-time stuff, also, getting the Gaudreau kids out there.
That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a moment, man. That's to bring it. I mean, that was pretty emotional.
Yeah. Good on Larkin and Werenski for going in there and getting them, and Matthew Tkachuk. It was pretty awesome stuff. Alex says, I'm 33, very passionate about hockey. There are no question yesterday was my generation's miracle on ice. Like, to your point, Joe, like in terms of like the upset factor of it, it wasn't the same. Like it wasn't like Team USA didn't match up with Canada, but just the moment of actually doing it and beating them. The 2010 Olympics, USA beat Canada. It was just in the round robin, right? USA beat Canada last year in the Four Nations. It was just in the round robin. So to do it when it actually counts and when it matters, I mean, it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal for USA hockey.
No question. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a rivalry, and that's awesome, and that's a heck of a lot of progress to get it to that. Miracle on Ice was college kids against unbelievably good Russian, Soviet pros. I mean, like, which, by the way, also, sign of the time. I saw this thing. I never knew this. Bill Bonds was a longtime beloved news anchor in Detroit. So for people who don't know, Miracle on Ice was tape delayed. So it happened. And of course, back then, there's no internet. So like they could wait and play something in prime time, which they did. They played the game in prime time that night, and people would not know. Cause like the newspaper, unless there's like, I don't know, an afternoon edition, but Bill Bonds in Detroit, they had a promo for like the 11 p.m. news. Like, we'll talk about the U.S. big win over. It was like, dude, there's like 3 minutes left in the third period. Yeah, I had no idea that happened. But yeah, talk about how different things are now versus then.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will get back into Team USA's win throughout the show today. Alex Doherty will be with us at 7:30. Corey Curtis coming up at 8 o'clock. Take more of your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Joey Aguilar situation got its finality this weekend. We'll get into that coming up next, and what happens with him from here, what happens with Tennessee at quarterback from here. We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joey Aguilar's preliminary injunction was denied on Friday, which means that the quarterback room right now for Tennessee is Faison Brandon, George McIntyre, and the kid from Colorado whose name is currently escaping me, who transferred in over the summer, who I hope is not going to be the starting quarterback. Ryan Staub, that is his name.
Staub.
There we go.
There we
Ryan
go.
Staub. So those are your three quarterbacks currently in the room for the Vols. You know, it was going to be interesting. I didn't know which way the Aguilar ruling was going to go. Obviously, you never know with these things nowadays. But now that there's some finality on it, let's just start on the Tennessee front. What do you make of this news if you're Josh Heupel in Tennessee and you're trying to plan this thing out for next year? And now what do you make of what we know is going to be a very inexperienced quarterback room for Tennessee coming up in the fall?
Well, at least there's clarity now. So he would have been the starter. I think that I think they were if they had an expectation, it'd be more on this side of things that this would not have worked out for him. So now it's I mean it's a competition, like you said. If Staub, who to me is added for depth and like a just in case kind of break glass in case of emergency type situation, if he ends up on the field, that's probably not good, for Tennessee. You've got some really talented, a couple of talented young guys. Look, I mean, George McIntyre, there was buzz about him last year for sure, like from practices and things like that. Some buzz, probably a little bit exaggerated, that maybe he could actually push, but you just really, to me, he's the ideal situation, I think, is that he's a starter. Now, look, if Brandon is, I guess you could look at it one of two ways. Okay, so it's just, like McIntyre isn't as good, or, isn't doing what they hope or whatever. He's not quite there, and you just have to resort to the freshman, or, oh my God, this freshman's so good, like you just have to go to him. But man, I feel like that year in the program should make a lot of difference. And I understand that Brandon is a higher rated recruit, but it's not like there's a Grand Canyon between them and in their like recruiting profiles coming out of high school and coming into college. So I think McIntyre starting this year is ideal, and you hope he's great. You're gonna have some bumps in the road, but you hope that he's ready for it, and that that he's ready to win football games in this offense. And then it's like, does it become a quarterback competition at some point? Stuff like this, when you have two guys that are pretty close to each other, just a year apart in class, it's hard to hold on to both of them. You just hope that one of them turns out to be a great quarterback.
Yeah, and you hope you choose right. That's the other thing. Like you gotta pick the right one. Like, I think if you're a Tennessee fan looking at this, you say, well, there's a lot of talent there, right? I mean, Faison Brandon, high-level recruit. George McIntyre, pretty high-level recruit. So you feel good about the talent that's in the room. On the other side, it feels like a very critical year for Josh Heupel. We've gone over the schedule for Tennessee next year. It's not easy. Like, they've got a pretty difficult schedule next year. And the idea of starting, a really young quarterback, whether it's Brandon or McIntyre, because I'm with you. Like, I think if it's Staub, that's probably not good. I mean, I understand that they just picked up Joey Aguilar, who was an afterthought at UCLA, and he came in and ran the offense really well. So maybe they can do that again. I have no idea. But I wouldn't think that would be very good news if you're Tennessee, if it plays out that way. If it's McIntyre or Brandon, you're talking about a young quarterback in a critical year for your coach. And it's also, to me, Joe, pretty clear that, Tennessee tried to go get a veteran starter and they just couldn't, right? I mean, they had Sam Levitt in there. They couldn't close the deal with him, obviously. I guess your backup plan is hoping that Joey Aguilar gets his injunction granted here. He didn't. So I'm not saying that Tennessee's not okay, or like there's no way they're going to be good with George McIntyre or Faison Brandon starting. But obviously, like, this was not the plan. Like, they tried to go get a starting quarterback and it did not work out in the portal.
Yeah. And it would, the outlook would be different with like a Levitt, for sure. Or somebody like that. So again, this is this is kind of how it used to be in college. Well, okay, well, your quarterback graduates, and now you're going to have to go to a younger quarterback. You hope in that era that you'd have maybe someone more like a third-year sophomore or junior or whatever, ready to step in. But even back then, you'd have a fair amount of situations where guys would recruit out or transfer out, because they were going to have to wait 2 years or whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's I think that expectations for this team now probably get a little bit more, they lower a little bit. But also I would think that it would be kind of exciting for Tennessee fans to – I mean, it's not like when you have a high-profile, coveted recruit quarterback who comes in and spends a year – obviously it happened with Nico, and he came in and he was not as good as everybody hoped. He wasn't a Heisman candidate like everybody hoped, but he was like – I thought it was a pretty promising first year as a starter. That can happen in college football, So this is an amazing opportunity for George McIntyre. And he's going to be pushed by a super talented player.
What do you think this means? I mean, obviously Aguilar is going to take a shot at the NFL now, and I'm sure he'll be at the combine, and we'll see what all that happens. Like, most of the stuff I've seen on Aguilar, if he's drafted at all, is like 6th or 7th round. So I guess that's where my expectation would be here. What do you make of the Aguilar part of this in terms of, is there any shot that he could turn into a serviceable NFL player at some point?
I can't sit here and say no way. Watch him throw the ball last year. Pretty good. He had some turnovers here and there that were costly. But in the year before, and when he came in, it was like, man, this guy threw a lot of picks. The year before, but no, I think he helped himself a lot. I think he's got a shot. I think he really did a good job in that 1 year of his teammates liked him a lot. He seemed to be a pretty good leader at quarterback, and he throws a good ball. I mean, I think he's got a chance. Yeah, I think if he's drafted, it's going to be late for sure. But again, a year ago, there's not even any conversation there.
Yep.
Right? There's no conversation whatsoever. Apparently he was going to go to the combine for a little bit was the plan, depending, and then just to sort of keep the options open. Now it's like,
just go, man.
Yeah, just go. Yeah. You're all, you got to be all in on the NFL now.
Yeah. So Tennessee, we'll see how that plays out for them, that quarterback here. But you got Georgia Tech on the road this year. A conference schedule that obviously includes Alabama. You got LSU coming to town this year. I mean, it's gonna be. You got Texas. It's gonna be a really interesting year for them in terms of what sort of quarterback player they're going to get, because you got Braylon Staley coming back. You got Mike Matthews in there. There's some weapons that the quarterback is going to have that are pretty good. So what level of quarterback play are they going to get? And what's going to be really interesting here is what does Heupel do if let's say there is a quarterback competition between McIntyre and Brandon and it's close. What do you do there if you're Heupel? Because a lot of Tennessee fans will be like, well, if it's close, go with Brandon. His ceiling's higher. Just get him in there now and let's go and build it for the next few years. I'd be very interested to see what Heupel would do in that situation.
To me, you just have to go with who's best, even if it's close. Oh, well, you're better. You earned it, but upside got to get. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. That's just, to me, this is a meritocracy. So you can't, and in particular, Josh Heupel, but even if he wasn't in this position, I hate that mindset. Who's better? Play the person who's better, period. That's it. And with Heupel, and I wouldn't consider Heupel on the hot seat. I think some people have to look at the season and say, playoff or bust, or Heupel's on the hot seat. I think that even might be a little much, but it'd be good to have a good season. And so you are absolutely just going with who has, even if it's just a little bit better. Now, maybe early in the season, I'm trying to think, they've got a couple games you can mess around with, right?
I think they open up. I can't remember if it's Furman or whoever it is. They open up with a cupcake, and then second week they're Georgia Tech.
Maybe it's a situation where they both play.
Yeah,
and you got practice, and then there's a difference when it's actually a game in front of thousands of people. I don't think that's the worst thing, but yeah, it's It's a competition, and now if it's even, if it's exactly even, well, that's awfully impressive for a true freshman. Maybe you go that way.
Furman, and then at Georgia Tech, home against Kennesaw State, home against Texas. First 4 games for Tennessee.
Okay. There's some opportunity in there.
There is.
Better have it figured out by Texas.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll switch gears, get into some college hoops coming up next. Tennessee gets a big win on the road against Vanderbilt over the weekend. Reaction to that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby and Rexrode presented by Green Ventures Landscaping, outdoor patios, landscaping design, lawn maintenance, and more. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. Joe, big win for Tennessee over the weekend. They win 69-65 on the road against Vanderbilt. We knew it would be a great game. It was. Awesome stuff between Tennessee and Vanderbilt. And we also said last week, Joe, that if you're one of these teams and you could win both of these games, that'd be a heck of a swing in the positive direction for your resume. And Tennessee gets the hard one out of the way on the road. Now, we'll see if Vanderbilt can respond at the end of the year and beat Tennessee on the road, but we'll get to that coming up here in a couple of weeks. What did you make of Tennessee and their 69-65 win against Vanderbilt on the road over the weekend?
Just super impressive. Just what an impressive that game was tremendously physical. And yeah, I thought both teams played with just the kind of desperation you hope to see in a rivalry game. You going into that game, right before that game, the NCAA selection committee gave out its top 16 seeds. So it's really the only actual picture we get of everything. And Vanderbilt was a 4. I was a little surprised by that. Vanderbilt was on the 4 line, was one of the top 16 seeds. And the next two, they said, on the 5 line were Alabama and Arkansas. So, I mean, to me, Tennessee going into the game was a clear 5. Then they win that game on the road. I mean, I know, give you a little preview here. I still have Tennessee as a 5 right now, along with Vanderbilt, dragging them down to that 5 line. But I mean, that, their resume keeps improving and building to the point where, they got a real chance here to push into being a top 4 seed. But beyond that, just the win itself, I feel like the Tennessee freshmen in particular were really impressive, and not just Nate Ament, who really didn't have a great game. I thought Vanderbilt did a great job against him. They threw a bunch of different guys at him. They threw nickel at him. They threw Chandler Bing at him a lot.
They did.
And really Bing did a great job, but he hung in there and of course hit that winning shot. But a lot of those guys I thought had really good contributions for Tennessee. And you can kind of see, I mean, Dwayne Brown's going to be good, man. Dwayne Brown's going to be good. Amari Evans is going to be good. Those guys come off the bench and give you, and then Bishop Boswell has back-to-back buckets. It might have been as important a stretch in that game as there was when it looked like Vanderbilt might be, getting that separation. And then Rick Barnes, we know he's going to have a great, defensive plan. Usually I thought they almost face guarded Tyler Nickel, and they said, everybody else, you guys can get shots, including Tyler Tanner. Tyler Nickel is not getting open looks. He's 1 for 8 in the game. He hit one late big 3 in kind of a scramble situation off a pass from Tanner, but he basically was taken out of the game. That's a 19-point-a-game dude.
Yep, for sure. Good stuff on the defensive front for Tennessee there. Vanderbilt did get Duke Miles back in this game. He's 12 points, 3 of 13 from the field in 27 minutes of action. So, obviously not the result that Vanderbilt is looking for there, but good to see Duke Miles back out there for Vanderbilt. You can tell he's going to make a difference.
Yeah, he is. He has some tremendous playmaking. He makes a difference defensively for sure. They need that depth. And so just watching him play, he was rusty, didn't shoot it well, and he took a couple shots, but he kind of does. He's he'll take some wild ones here and there, but that's going to be a big deal for them getting him back. Still, it's a bitter loss for them. And I didn't realize this, but I saw some Vols fans. So 15 of 17, I believe here. Remember the Tyron. Well, let's see. Well, last year they got him. Vanderbilt got him, which was huge for Byington his first year. And then you had the Tyron Lawrence last second in that incredible game a couple years ago. And that's it. So, this was kind of the year to think about where these two teams were really just a few weeks ago. Like Vanderbilt's talking 2 seed, and Tennessee's like, what's going on with this team? And I mean, I think they're very, very equally matched teams. I think it should be a really good game in Knoxville, and maybe we'll get another one here.
Well, I saw some discussion on this front after the game from both sides, from Tennessee fans and from Vanderbilt fans. There are a lot of Tennessee fans in that building on Saturday. Were you surprised by that, given how good Vanderbilt has been this year?
Well, you called the rant if you didn't call the rant today, that was going to be
Well,
my.
you're welcome to have.
Oh no! I like your rant, but I was like, maybe I'll save this, but no. I mean, it's a mini rant. That's embarrassing for Vanderbilt, man. Like, I'm sorry, but I understand. Tennessee fans are everywhere. They're all over this city. But this team and what this Vanderbilt team has done and what they are, which to me is, I mean, I think they're a really strong second weekend kind of team. You haven't had that many in your history. Like, there's a good basketball tradition at Vanderbilt, but like, this team can do things, and you've had plenty of time here to catch up with this team. Like, early in the year when Byington and Shea Ralph were both talking about wanting more fan support, I looked at it, I was like, yeah, there just aren't that many attractive games. It'll get better when SEC play happens. And it's just, again, it's impressive from the Tennessee fan front. And Vols fans, like, they're going to find a way to get into buildings. But I still was a little bit stunned at what sounded like almost a 50-50 crowd. And you saw some of the celebration stuff after the game. There was a lot
of Tennessee fans in there.
A lot of Tennessee. More Tennessee fans in that building than there should have been. Because that just that means that there are some Vanderbilt fans with really good seats who sold to Tennessee fans. And I just don't understand that for that game. So I think it's a little bit embarrassing on the Vanderbilt fan front, and I'm trying not to do too much of the fan shaming thing on things like this, but it was a little bit surprising given how good this team is.
Well, I was surprised. I'm not surprised that Tennessee fans want it in there, right? Like, this is, there's plenty of Tennessee fans that live in Nashville. So I understand that, right?
Sure.
It's not like Nashville is not some hotbed for Tennessee fans around here. But given the stakes of the game, frankly, how good Vanderbilt has been, and not just how good they've been, Joe, but how good they've been at home. Like, they've been a really good team at home. I thought that you would see probably more of a, 70-30-ish type Vanderbilt crowd.
And I don't know what it was.
I don't know what it
exactly.
was. I just know there's the shot of Tennessee coming off the floor where it's kind of like underneath and you can look up and see. I mean, it looked like the whole side of the arena was Tennessee fans there.
Yeah, and I've covered that game many times when it was pretty close to 50-50. But again, that was it. I mean, Tennessee has been the superior program for quite a while now. Rick Barnes has made that reality, and obviously Vanderbilt's had their issues trying to figure out a good coach. They have one now. I mean, I remember the 18-19 season, so the 19 game, incredible night in that building. That was, I don't know if Tennessee was number one. They were close to it. Grant Williams, that was a game, where the hook and hold, all that stuff that went down, and Vanderbilt rose up and played this. I mean, like, that night was probably not quite. It was a little bit more Vanderbilt than Tennessee, but it was close. It was close 50-50. Okay, well, when you have a team that's like a national championship contender, and then the other team is actually having a hugely disappointing season, I mean, okay, then you get that.
Sure.
I mean, again, Tennessee continues to be good and has been good, but this Vanderbilt season, to me, dictated a little bit more of a dominant home crowd for this one. I think, you saw it last week. Vanderbilt was putting out, basically, I guess, pleas for, students to get your student tickets. Like, how does that happen for the Tennessee game?
Vanderbilt will be at home on Wednesday against Georgia, on the road against Kentucky coming up on Saturday. Big game for them there. On the road against Ole Miss, and then on the road against Tennessee. So 4 more games in the regular season for Vanderbilt coming up. Tennessee has Alabama, I believe, next Saturday. So that'll be a big one too.
That's absolutely a big one, and that's one of those that they've kind of dominated. I do want a quick shout out because George in the YouTube chat is talking about Predemption, Stilly ripping Saros. Also, was telling me on Twitter that Nate Amen is the same as JP Prince.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, yeah, well,
there we go.
Okay. Sure thing.
JP Prince.
Overrated, very overrated. JP Prince.
Okay.
Scotty Hobson.
There you go.
So some excellent the Saros takes. I mean, Saros Saros is pretty freaking good.
He was in the Olympics, yeah.
I mean, the athletic hockey show I was listening to last night, were making the case that Saros upped his trade value during this tournament.
Well,
and Preds should get on the phone
if he
immediately.
If he did, I'd probably get on the phone. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your thoughts on Tennessee's win against Vanderbilt. It was a huge weekend of college basketball. We will continue that discussion coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We'll have Alex Doherty from the Tennessean coming up at 7:30. Get his thoughts on Team USA's win against Team Canada yesterday. And the Preds back in action this week. Trade deadline right around the corner. So all that coming up with Alex Doherty. Corey Curtis from News 2 will be with us at 8 o'clock. Joe, it was a wild weekend in college basketball. 5 top 10 teams lose this weekend. Now, some of that was because there were some top 5, top 10 matchups. So somebody's got to lose. But there were 5 overall. So Michigan loses. They go down, number 1 Michigan to Duke. Houston loses. So number 1 and number 2 go down. You had Cincinnati take down Kansas. You had BYU take down Iowa State. And Mick Cronin inspiring his team to victory against Illinois in overtime. So 5 top 10 teams going down over the weekend.
Yeah, that was amazing. That if anybody didn't see the finish of UCLA, Illinois, and if anybody's of a certain age, you remember Tyus Edney in the NCAA tournament for UCLA, I think against Missouri. I think that's right. Coast to coast with a few seconds, like 4 seconds on the clock, and Donovan Dent just went coast to coast to beat Illinois. Incredible. Huge games. Duke, Michigan was obviously the headliner. So Michigan gets the number 1 overall seed from the committee, and then I think Duke immediately takes it from them. I mean, I don't see how Duke isn't the number 1 overall seed now with that win, gigantic win. And shout out to the Vingans, by the way, because, we've got another addition to the Vingan family, Eliza, and you've got
Harlan was there.
And then Harlan, Vingan's dad, was in the house for that game.
Yeah.
Duke beats Michigan. And as Vingan says, and USA men win their first gold since 1980. Pretty good weekend for the Vingans.
Not bad.
Yeah. So, I was really, really impressed with Arizona without Koa Pete going into Houston. Just a really impressive win. So, huge weekend of college hoops. And I do think that Michigan Duke game, I think that could be a national championship game. I still kind of feel like Michigan's the best team. Of course, I picked that wrong, just like most of my picks. And a week.
I was going to say, is
really
now the proper time to tell our listeners that Ian and I were both 5-1, and you were 1-5 to kick off weekend winners?
So both 5-1 with your locks, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so 6 points, and then I go 1-5. Yeah. College hoops expert. Here, let's hear some of your picks. Great. How about I'll take Michigan. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take Houston. Cool. I'll take what else did I screw up? I mean, I just across the board.
You locked down on Houston.
Yeah, I locked down on Houston.
Confident
Great.
on Houston.
Good call. Yeah. Yeah. So again, that's why I don't gamble pretty much. But still, huge weekend college basketball. That game, I love the trend of having like a big, like non-league game.
Sure.
It's not always going to be that good. Last year, Duke did the same thing, but it was against Illinois, and they beat him by like 1 million, so no one cared. But I kind of liked that, and yeah, it felt like a title game or Final Four game. I just think Michigan shot terribly, but also, I mean, Cameron Boozer is a freshman. He's National Player of the Year to me. He watch him in that game, all the things that he did down the stretch. It's just incredible that someone that young understands. I mean, I understand. I think his dad played in the NBA. Dad was a star at Duke, but he's got an incredible feel for everything, and he was just the best player on the court, and that's the main reason they won.
He did not have 29 and 10 like I said he would. He did have 18 and 10, so close enough. We'll round up.
I forgot you said that. Well, he had foul trouble.
He did.
So he might have.
He'd have played more. He got all those points. Michigan, to your point, shot 40% from the field, including 24% from 3. So not very good.
Well, they got crushed on the boards. I mean, that's the thing that I would never. I mean, Michigan people, don't watch the sport or watch them. I mean, they go basically 6-9 across the board, 3-4-5. They're 3. So Lindeborg is going to be a first-round pick, and then Adai Mara, who's 7-4, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're huge. They kill everybody on the glass, and Duke got him, man. Duke didn't let him get any. Like it was just like one and done when Michigan was missing, which is so impressive. John Shire, by the way, is there's a lot of National Coach of the Year possibilities out there. By the way, shout out to Casey Alexander, who I think should get some mention, in Belmont winning the MVC Regular season championship, huge for them.
Yeah.
Big deal. And maybe they should get some votes in the top 25 at this point. They're clearly right now the best auto bid. They're going to be the highest 12 seed at this point if they get in. But John Shire should get some National Coach of the Year love, I think. That job is following Krzyzewski. It's like it's a doomed proposition. And I understand. Oh, really? Yeah, give someone Duke, and they immediately have all these advantages, and Duke recruits for itself to a large extent. That guy is a really good coach. And down the stretch of that game, every ATO, every play after timeouts was something perfect to get like a dunk or a wide open shot. I mean, that's big time coaching.
Let me tell you this, we just mentioned the top 10. I watched a little bit of Florida over the weekend, and I realized they're playing Ole Miss, and Ole Miss not that good. Florida's killing everyone right now. They are, they've won, what is it now? Let's see here, 7 in a row, and they are destroying, with the exception of Vanderbilt, they are destroying everyone that they play. And I understand, we've talked about this, the SEC is not as strong as it was a year ago, but Florida looks pretty scary heading into this the postseason right around the corner.
Florida is very scary. And that does, you bring up that Vanderbilt game, 98-94, not in overtime, 98-94 Florida at Vanderbilt. That tells you, Vanderbilt can compete at a high level. Also, yeah, that's a huge win for Florida. And, Auburn went in and beat them, which is part of why Auburn, I think is going to get in. And by the way, they got a huge one.
They sure did
against Kentucky. But yes, Florida is certainly the team they're going to win the SEC. They're the team with the highest ceiling. They have the exact same front court that won it all. It's all year. It's just been about, can they shoot it well enough? What about their guards? You had to replace the backcourt. I mean, I wonder if Denzel Aberdeen wishes he had stayed there instead of gone to Kentucky. But Boogie Fland is a heck of an all-around player. Doesn't shoot well. Xavier Lee finally he's from Princeton. He is now shooting. And so they have just enough shooting with everything else that they are absolutely scary. Last year, you think about Walter Clayton and what he did late in games to save them. He was so good. And Will Richard, and those guys were Elijah Martin. That was an incredible backcourt to go with this front court. That's a national champion. I don't know if this is a national champion, but you have to consider them a Final Four contender at this point.
You mentioned the big win for Auburn. What about Kentucky? I mean, it's been so up and down with them this year. I mean, obviously, the 2 comeback wins against Tennessee were awesome, and you feel great about those if you're a Kentucky fan.
What if you didn't have those?
But what if you didn't have? That's what I was going to say. What if you didn't have those? What would we be talking about with Kentucky?
Kentucky, they have done enough, and those wins are huge. Especially the road win. The win at Tennessee is a very valuable win for them. But you look through their and they won at Arkansas, so those 2 wins, their profile is still they're in pretty good shape here to get in. But I don't know, man. That's 3 in a row now. There was a questionable call. Colin Chandler got called for a push-up, and it was a total flop. And I generally don't like refs going for that stuff. But he extended the arms too. It's you can't you have to be smarter than that. So, by the way, did you see Pope's meltdown about that?
I did. Yes.
We should play that at some point this week. It was actually one of the greatest, I'm not saying anything about the horrific officiating that cost us again. I no excuses about the horrible, awful, personal, terrible. It was it was
I kind of respected it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the problem is then the cameras caught him screaming, I don't care. They cheated on. It's oh, now see,
Here we go.
You screwed up the thing. But, I tell you what, at South Carolina, should win that. Then they got Vanderbilt coming in, at Texas A&M, Florida at home. If they lose 3 of the 4, which is absolutely possible, then you're talking about 18-13, and they're right there, I think, on the bubble.
Yeah.
They're much more of a bubble team coming to Nashville. So we'll see. It's been one heck of a roller coaster ride, Mark Pope's second year.
We'll be joined by Alex Doherty from the Tennessean coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. We head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Alex Doherty from the Tennessean to the program. Alex, good morning. How are you?
I am great. Good morning to everyone in the great USA, where the gold medal resides for the next 4 years.
You're darn right it does. Just beautiful stuff yesterday from Team USA. They get the win in overtime. So let's start there. Jack Hughes scores the game winner. It's a legendary performance from Connor Hellebuck in goal yesterday, and the United States wins the goal for the first time since the Miracle on Ice in 1980. What did you make of that game, and how big a deal is this for USA hockey, for hockey in this country as a sport?
Well, yeah, there's a lot to talk about with this game. I mean, you guys touched on it earlier with, the speed and the elite level of play just constantly in the game. It was just incredible to watch. I was thinking today or last night and then this morning about how this team was constructed, and there was some stuff that came out after the win where the U.S. kind of was really emphasizing, the culture of the team and how that was more important when they constructed it. Because if we go back, there were some questions about some of the moves. I mean, obviously the big players were going to be in. You knew that Quinn Hughes and Jack Hughes and Austin Matthews and you knew the goaltending was going to be there. But like down the lineup, there were some questions about JT Miller, about Vincent Trocheck, about Clayton Keller, and all. And these guys didn't play like a major role, but like I think there's something to be said for, at the Olympics specifically, you have 2 weeks to create just like the perfect culture to win a game, right? To win the biggest game imaginable. And it's not that Canada, put together a lineup of scrubs of it. I mean, they put the best lineup they could. But I think making that team such a unified group that you could tell Jack Hughes talking about it after the game, like they were such a tight group, and that is really hard to do in just a 2-week span. You see the same thing, by the way, with that 1980 team. I mean, they talked about it. If you've seen the documentaries about it, you see the camaraderie. That they're still together. They still talk to each other. It's like that was that team was a little different because they almost unified in their hatred of Herb Brooks, right?
Yeah.
There's a little different, but I just think there's something to be said for like the culture that they created with this lineup. And then just like the sort of backs against the wall, like Canada was just unbelievable in that second and third period. And then they just, I mean, obviously Connor Hellebuck was, the MVP of that game, but they had to find a way to release the pressure when they could, and they had guys that could do that. It was just astonishing to watch. I'm glad that it turned out the way that it did. Sometimes these things can not turn out the way you think they're going to when there's a high profile matchup. I did think it was going to be a low scoring game. I mean, I just think that the defense for both sides was too good, even though the forward power is great. The other thing I wanted to mention is, like, I think there's something weird happened with the top Canada players yesterday, because if you think about, I think so Connor McDavid had the breakaway early in the game, and normally Connor McDavid breakaway, it's just like, okay, well, how's he going to score this one? And he just like over stick handles, right? He gets a little too much. He does a little too much, and then just kind of tucks the puck right into Hellebuck's pad. Then you had the Nathan McKinnon miss on the backside. There was a pretty bad miss, to be honest.
The wide open net.
Yeah, wide open net. Macklin Celebrini had a breakaway, and he just kind of flubbed it. It was very strange to watch these like elite players for Canada in the very final moment, except for the Cale Makar goal, of course. Just messed it up. That was strange to watch. But overall, I mean, probably one of my top 3 favorite sporting moments like of all time. That was so much fun to watch. I loved every minute of it, and I'm so glad it turned out the way it did.
So you're saying Canada choked, essentially. You can say it.
Exactly right.
Have some of that.
Well, it's like obviously Canada has just incredible talent everywhere. It was weird, right? I mean, there were some.
Celebrini had how many primo chances on top of the breakaway? That guy looked utterly just miserable on the bench after that. I mean, man, he had.
And the thing that Canada was most worried about, their goaltending. I don't think Jordan Binnington played poorly.
No.
I think he was fine. It was kind of the forward group that couldn't find that final punch, and Hellebuck, all the credit in the world. I mean, that guy is so talented. He's like the perfect goalie for that because he's got the perfect size. He's quick. He can track the puck well. He made some otherworldly saves, but he was incredible. But yeah, Canada. I mean, like, would you have made a single change to their roster? Obviously, other than Sidney Crosby being healthy, like. I mean, they had the right lineup. It's just like it didn't work, and it was strange.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the U.S. left Caulfield at home. They left Jason Robertson at home, and there was all sorts of talk about that heading into the tournament. And then they end up winning gold anyway. Like,
whiskey drinkers,
a lot of whiskey drinkers. I mean,
that's right.
I just wonder. There's all sorts of discourse today about like the Hughes goal and what that's going to do for the league. I have no idea, like in terms of pure numbers moving forward here, what this is going to mean in terms of growth of the game. But like it goes back to Alex, like this, how stupid it's been to not have this in the Olympics. Yeah. Like surely, I don't know what the numbers are going to say. I'm sure the ratings will come out at some point today, and I'm sure it'll be very good. But like if you're watching that, if you're Gary Bettman yesterday, if you're anybody involved with the NHL or the NHLPA. The fact that you guys let this happen where you didn't go to the Olympics the last couple of times out is absurd based on what we just watched yesterday.
Yeah, and now, there's no guarantee that we get it again, right? I mean, right. Like I feel like the momentum is there, but, two major players got injured, and we don't know. I mean, Sidney Crosby doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but, that team, obviously Pittsburgh doesn't want anything to do with him getting injured there. Kevin Fiala is out for the year. So, like, does that hurt it? I don't know. I mean, at some point, the NHLPA has to face the music and be like, okay, well, if we're going to do this, injuries are going to happen. We can't ferment that. But it is just like that was incredible for the game. I mean, and not just that matchup, but the whole tournament was great. I mean, the semifinal with Canada and Finland, U.S.-Slovakia wasn't as much of a game, but Canada-Finland was great. The U.S.-Sweden game in the quarterfinal was amazing. The whole tournament was great. You had players, top players going up. I think I saw something where over 20 different players scored a game-winning goal in the tournament. Like, just so many players stepped up for their country. It was just awesome to watch. I loved it. Now, Robbie, we get to go watch the Nashville Predators play the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let's go. We were talking about that. Yeah, like you said, and we were talking earlier, like this game just on its own, the speed, it was just insane. Like it was mesmerizing. So for someone who isn't familiar with hockey, if that's like their first experience or like maybe the most intense experience of watching a game, how does that translate into, okay, now I want to get into hockey? And maybe, you get into some NHL February stuff. It's not great, but I always tell people, please watch some playoff hockey games and give it a try. Watch a game 7 and tell me that that's not incredibly compelling, sports content. Do you think that there's going to be a tangible, impact here from that perspective? I mean, we could all agree, like, kids watch this, like, this is going to have an impact, but what about just like general fandom?
I assume you're talking about in the U.S. alone, because obviously those other countries, already are pretty saturated with hockey creation. But so when I think about this kind of topic, I think about how the transformation of U.S. women's soccer, it's a little different, but with the was it 94? Was it 94, 96, somewhere in there? The U.S. win over China, I think. Brandy Chastain, that whole thing.
96 or 98 even, but yeah. Late 90s. Yeah.
In the 90s, yeah. So that was a transformative moment, right, for U.S. women's soccer. And look at it now. I mean, like it's been dominant for the last and you have huge swaths of people of young women and girls playing that sport. Could you have something similar to this? Now, I think the U.S. hockey system is already pretty good, but could it get better? Yeah, I think it definitely could. I think it's always going to have a little bit of regionalism, right? Because of it's a cold weather sport, and you've got, the idea of, Minnesota being like the sort of hub of U.S. hockey, because they got lakes everywhere and they freeze and kids can go out and play like whenever they want to. You're not going to have that in Texas. You're not going to have that in Tennessee even. So you need, it's unlike basketball where you can have a gym, in every state, in every city. But like, I think that that had to have impacted kids somewhere, saying, watching Jack Hughes go out there and with a bloody mouth, score the goal and then skating around with the American flag, like that means something. You can't tell me it doesn't. It was so much fun to watch. And then I think that the rivalry is another thing. Like, people, not only do you want to play for the U.S., but you want to play for the U.S. and you want to beat Canada, right? There's something to that too. Like, not only do kids want to go out and play the sport, but they want to beat, the team that everyone wants to beat, and that's Canada right now. So that helped as well. If U.S. loses, Canada wins again, it's kind of the same as usual. That's normally what happens. But now you get this upset win, and it sort of transforms the whole narrative.
All right, Alex, last thing for you. The trade deadline is coming right around the corner here for the Preds. We'll see, what the wins and losses look like before then, but they're 4 points out right now as we sit here today. What's your expectation for what could happen here over the next couple of weeks for the Predators?
Yeah, I think you got to move some guys. I think it's time to face the music and to start moving some guys. I mean, Eric Halla had a heck of a tournament.
He did.
He
bronze medal winner Eric Halla. Line up your first round pick, please. So, Michael Bunting, Michael McCarron, Cole Smith. Even a guy like, Nick Blankenberg. He's been a great find for Nashville. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's 27. Does he really fit in the plan for the future? See if you can get something for him. There's a lot of options out there. I think there's no fewer than 3 guys on this roster that will be gone by the trade deadline. I'm not sure exactly which 3, but I think at the very least they have to trade those. I don't think O'Reilly is going to be one of those, by the way. I think they, not just because they need to hold on to him for this season, but I think that he's too important to like hold together the entire locker room for at least the next couple of years while they transition here. But I don't expect O'Reilly to be traded, but definitely a few of these guys are gone.
You didn't mention Saros, who was incredible. Awfully good, although some people didn't see it that way, which I know that you took note of that on social media. But what Ian said, that people are talking about Saros.
Yeah. I'd pick up the phone.
Trade that contract.
Trade?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd not seen that. I can't see that happening either. Like, doesn't sound like something that could happen. Saros was, every time you see Saros in like this scenario, I was thinking the other day, like, wouldn't it be kind of perfect if UC Saros is best game of his entire career was not with the Nashville Predators? Like, if he had beaten Canada,
yeah.
And for a while it looked like that. That would just be perfect. That would just be perfect if UC Saros is, after all this, the best game of his entire career was beating Canada in the tournament. It didn't happen, but it was looking like that for a little while. He was great. We'll see if it translates. And maybe there's something to the defense in front of him in Nashville that's not playing well. I don't buy that. I think he's not had a good season. I think there's no doubt about that. I know Robby talked about that. It just seems like he hasn't done well. But maybe he found it again and he's ready to show off that top 3, top 5 goaltender in the league type of performance the rest of the way.
We'll see what happens. Alex, great stuff as always, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning, and we will talk to you soon, my friend.
Definitely. Honestly, I think that the Predators Blackhawks is going to be just as good.
I agree.
I'm so excited.
I'm looking forward to it coming up on Thursday. The pace will be the exact same.
How about the ads? Got an ads game coming up?
Admirals game coming up. You can get into that too. Be good.
Yeah. There you go. We get some Milwaukee. Go watch some AHL after that action on Sunday morning.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Alex Doherty, our guest here on the program. We'll have the Rob rant coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
We need this team to win.
I want to know where to go.
I want winners.
Quit being a loser.
I'm from Canada. It's never too cold for ice cream.
If you don't stand with your fellow Canadians, then you are a rat.
You know, some of these rats around here, so.
Would you call this cutting someone's jugular, Mike?
100-plus assists in an NHL season has been accomplished only 13 times. 11 times by this player. Joe.
Who's Magic Johnson?
Oh, no.
Americans don't even know that there's a country north of them.
Right. Give me the goal. I want the goal.
To change the name from Southeastern Conference or SEC to just America.
Good night, Canada.
God bless America. It is time for the Rob Rant here on the program. A victorious Rob Rant this morning as Team USA has won the gold medal against Canada. Have some of that. Love it.
Philip, what is it? Philip and
Terrence and Philip.
Terrence and Philip.
Yeah.
Oh, good God.
So I was going to use this to talk about the NHL at large, and don't ever tell me that yesterday's game wasn't worth sending your players over to the Olympics. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show.
Yep.
Because my goodness.
You're darn right.
I want to start with this. I have all the respect in the world for Connor McDavid. I do. I said it earlier in the show. I've said it many times. I believe he is the greatest hockey player I have ever seen in terms of just his pure ability out there. Now, at some point, probably needs to win something, but he's the greatest hockey player I think I've ever seen. He won the MVP of the tournament yesterday, and I'm trying to – like, I understand he set a record. I think he had 13 points. He had 2 goals, 11 assists, which was a record for a player at the Olympics. So I get that. Did you watch Connor Hellebuck in the gold medal game? Did you? And it wasn't just the gold medal game. Connor Hellebuck finished with a .956 save percentage in the tournament. .956, which was pretty darn good, man, and won the gold medal and basically single-handedly won him the gold medal in that game. Does that not count? Like, he can't be the MVP over Connor McDavid? Yeah. Like you said, Connor McDavid is, he's won a Conn Smythe as playoff MVP when losing in the Cup final. And frankly, that year I thought he should have won the Conn Smythe. I mean, it was unbelievable. I'm not saying McDavid shouldn't be at least worthy of consideration, but like the end result probably needs to matter, right? Like, it would be one thing if Hellebuck was just okay throughout the tournament and then he had a great gold medal game. He was completely dominant the whole time. Like, I'm trying to understand how Hellebuck is not the MVP of the tournament. They just won the gold medal.
Well, I'll tell you how, because this is another in a long line of stupid voting situations. Everybody's tweeting about this yesterday. After the first period, votes were due. First period.
What are we doing?
We
don't have any room for like pivoting.
Yeah.
They talked about
Chandler Bing again
on the Athletic podcast that I was listening to last night. Mark Lazarus, your colleague over there covering the team, brought that up.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
And he suggested there be a condition on there, like there is with other voting situations, where if the U.S. were to win the gold, Hellebuck would then become the MVP. And apparently there is no conditional list on there.
That's an easy thing to do.
Can we not just wait for the game to go final and then like send out an email, but like, hey, let's vote?
So the reason they don't do that is because they're counting all these writers to vote, and then they're all on deadline, and they're not going to do it. So that's why they don't do it. But which is why either do that, which I've voted in whatever. I don't even know what it was. Some bowl game or something, or I've definitely been in a situation where it's like, if this team wins this, easy to do, or you take 3 people. Obviously it'd be great to have like, as many possible voters and all that. Shoot, man.
It's 2026. You can send a link that has, hey, click on who you think should be MVP. You click on it real quick. It takes 6 seconds. It's done.
Yeah.
What kind of deadline are you on?
Yeah. You'd have some people who wouldn't see it. And they're like, they're frantic, whatever. But yeah, bottom line is vote in the first period for the MVP in this game where we have no idea what the outcome will be.
It's crazy.
That's it. Right. It's utterly stupid. So
it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Hellebuck, the real MVP, the real Connor.
There you
in
go.
This tournament. That's what I have to say.
The better Connor.
That's right. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Corey Curtis from News 2 will be with us coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. And as we do every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, we welcome in our friend Corey Curtis to the program from News 2, brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Corey, good morning. How are you?
I'm a delight, Robert. How are you today?
Feeling outstanding. My country is the best hockey country in the world, and it's a beautiful time. A beautiful time. What did you make of that game yesterday between the U.S. and Canada?
First, realize we're chasing a country with less than 10% of our population.
That's irrelevant.
But
yeah, but they think they invented hockey and that they own it, and come on now.
Well, they kind of do own it, guys. I mean, come on. Let's be serious.
Not as of today.
Yeah. Look,
silver medal.
I mean, it's great. I mean, it's not a rivalry until both sides win, right?
That is true.
And so the United States winning is great. And we've seen this coming with the rise of our junior program internationally in the way that they've performed. And so, they went there for gold. And if they weren't in the gold medal game, it was going to be a huge disappointment. And, they were able to deliver in the clutch. And, they, like everyone else, had other moments where they could have lost because virtually every game seemed to go to overtime. But it was a great breakfast in Milan, and it was a nice way to wrap up the Olympics for the U.S. and a nice for them to finish out what they set out to do, and to beat the Canadians as well. I'll never forget the Vancouver game. That was absolutely fantastic, and the drama was incredible. And winning 4-1 is nice, but winning like that, I don't know. To me, it just means more. It just feels more accomplished. It just feels better. It's more dramatic. It's rising to the moment, and so it's a great moment for U.S. sports.
So, do you think this? What's the payoff here, Corey? In terms of, like you said, I mean, we've made huge strides in this country in terms of youth hockey. But this game, in terms of fandom, in terms of even maybe more, youth interest, and also the inevitable future debate of, well, look at what happened to Fiala and Crosby got hurt too, versus look at what this can do for hockey. Where do you think that goes?
Well, I mean, I think it's great for hockey, but every 4 years people watch curling and figure skating, and we're not overrun in the world by figure skating and curling, right?
That is true. We should be.
Okay.
But yes.
So it's a very it's easy for everyone to rise up and root for their country and appreciate this all-star scenario where all these players come together. I think we did get a bounce, like obviously in 1980. And growing up in Chicago, there were a handful of youth hockey teams, but there wasn't much. And now everywhere in Chicago, there's youth hockey. So it's obviously grown. And I hate to say, I don't know how much room there is for it to grow because it's a really expensive sport to play. And so I think that's a challenge. It's not like youth soccer, anybody can play. All right. Now, playing club soccer costs money. I've learned that firsthand, but it's still not as expensive as playing, youth hockey because you don't have all of the gear and the rink rental and all that stuff and the rink issues that you have. So hockey's got a few other challenges in front of it. Do I think it'll impact NHL ratings? Probably not. Maybe a little bit. I think there's a lot of swept up nationalism. I think it's great for hockey fans, but I don't know how much just the casual American sports fan says, I'm going to go watch hockey now because I watched the U.S. win gold. I think, there's a lot of people who just take pride in watching the U.S. watch gold, and that's okay, win gold, and that's okay. I could be wrong, but I think it will largely reset to where it is.
Well, I also think too, Corey, and it's impossible to time it up this way. I get it. But if it would be another thing too, if the Olympics were ending and you were just right into the playoffs, but there's still another 2 months of the regular season. I think that kind of factors into it as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you may get a few people who go to a game who weren't going to go to a game, or who check it out. I don't see there being like, hey, there's a 10% surge in ratings. I don't see that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that part of it goes. So we got the combine coming up later this week in the NFL. We'll get into everybody's, how fast they run and the vertical and hand size and all those things. One of Rexrode's favorite events of the year.
The underwear Olympics.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's going to be out there. People seem to love it. So, of all the draft prospects and the people that we're going to talk about ad nauseum over the next couple of months here, who has really to this point captured your attention? You know what? The Tennessee Titans at number 4. I would love to see them end up with this player.
I mean, it's going to be boring. But it's any of the 3 edge rushers, because they're all kind of different.
Yeah.
And which one do you want to gamble on? Because I think there is some gamble with all of them. I mean, Rivalry has played 1 year, and I don't think he had a sack the last 6 games of last year. But he's played 1 year. And he's 20 years old, and I guarantee you, if he's at the combine and performing and everything, he will be off the charts. The combine was made for dudes like him, and everybody's going to want to see what Bain's measurables are, to which most people would rightfully say, well, just turn on the tape and just go watch him play. Because I think there's also some value in that. And then, last year you had Bailey come up with 14.5 sacks, which is what he had his first 3 years, at Stanford. How sustainable is he? How ready is he? Be interesting to see. He's long. I'm interested to see what his strength is. Some of his explosive numbers. We could talk about the receivers. If that's where they want to go. But I just think the guys who can hit the quarterback are the ones that I'm most interested in. It's not to say that I'm 100% that's what they'll do, but that's the ones I'm most interested in.
Okay, well, you just laid it out for all 3, so you're the GM and you have to choose between them. Who are you taking?
Yeah, right now I'm leaning Bain just because I like the results, but I do acknowledge and I understand the short arm problem, and that history says that it's an issue. But it's catch me at the right moment. I watch Reese and I go, gosh, how much upside does this guy have? I mean, look at him. And then you watch Bailey bend and finish. I don't know how. Have you watched a lot of Bailey tape?
Tape? No, I watched him a fair amount last year. Yeah, I loved him.
How violent of a player do you feel like he is?
See, that's the thing. That's the knock on him. And yet,
yeah,
I thought that I saw some times where I thought he set the edge and blew people up and was good in the run game. I understand that consistently that's still an issue and still a question.
Yeah, and because that's I mean, you're talking about the 4th pick of the draft, okay?
Right.
And so it's we're splitting hairs here. We're not saying any of these guys aren't great players, but we're talking about 4th overall. So you're trying to be as perfect as you can. And when I watched him, I remember I had the same complaint about Vic Beasley coming out. I watched Vic Beasley's tape, and I watched his tape, and I watched his tape, and I'm like, he's just not very violent. There's a lot of arms in there. There's a lot of grabbing in there. And that matters. That length matters for sure. That hand strength matters for sure. So is it a problem? That's what Mike Borgonzi and crew have to figure out. I'm probably making up something that isn't. But for me, that's what I see. And I see Desmond Bain, and I see a wired, violent player. Or Desmond Bain, sorry. I see Reuben Bain, and I see a wired, violent player. And I love that, but I also understand he's a hand in the dirt guy. And, I know, so what did Gus Bradley say last week? They want one guy basically with his hand in the dirt for 3 plays and another guy who's like 2-1. And, you could have some versatility with a Reese and a Bailey and not as much versatility with a Bain. So it's tough to say. I mean, because again, you just look at the athleticism of Reese, and it's like, yeah, he should wear a cape and have an S on his chest.
Corey, last thing for you here. We were talking about this earlier in the show. I mean, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, big game over the weekend. Tennessee goes on the road and they win. So I guess first off, what do you make of that win for Tennessee? But what did you make of the amount of Tennessee fans that were in the building? A lot of talk about that on both sides after. Like on the Vanderbilt side, it was like, guys, I don't know if you guys have seen this. Our team's pretty darn good this year. We need the fans to show up better than that. So what did you make of all that over the weekend?
I guess it's a little surprising because Vandy has had pretty good support this year. I mean, the fans have come back, with the team being good. But I guess, Tennessee, they've kind of had an uptick in momentum, and, they showed up, and I mean, it was I hate to say it was a bigger game for Tennessee, but it was a bigger game for Tennessee. And they did what they had to do and got the finish in that game, despite Ament being quiet for a while in that game. And so, I guess good for Tennessee fans, Vandy fans. I guess you could just say do better, but I didn't see the actual numbers, so I can't comment about that. I just look. I mean, Tennessee fans have outnumbered Vandy fans for generations. One's a very small private school, the other is not, and there's always going to be a disparity there. I guess you'd like to protect your home turf a little bit better, but the numbers are what the numbers are.
Very well said. Corey Curtis, great stuff as always. Thank you for being with us this morning, and we will talk to you next week, my friend.
All right. Thank you very good. I will be will anyone be joining me in Indianapolis?
Paul Kuharski will be up there, I believe.
He will.
Yeah, all right. Well, what's it do with Tuck Paul?
He's from paulkuharski.com in case you didn't know. Yeah.
I don't know if he said that before.
I like that when Terry got flustered and he was like, hey, you're a little red. And I'm like, brother, we're just getting started.
Oh,
here.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So have a good time up there in Indy. Give a full report to Rexrode. It's his favorite event of the entire year on the sporting calendar.
Really, very sad.
I understand. I do. I understand that. It's why fans love it. I don't know. The one thing, and Joe, you can probably acknowledge this. 15 years ago, you went to the combine and at least 50% of your player interviews were just absolute hot garbage. But they are so prepared now that like almost all the interviews are great. And like you actually get stuff from them. It is a much more enjoyable experience from that perspective that you can ask a player a question and get an actual answer about something.
There you go, Joe. Not too late to get up there.
I guess I missed this trend. I haven't noticed any change at
it's
all.
Way different
some guys are good, some guys are bad, right?
Yeah, but before, majority of the guys were bad. And now a majority of the guys are prepared and pretty good.
I can't wait for
Rexrode
to get up there later this week.
I mean, it's a great opportunity to go drink. Yeah,
there's not much else to do in Indy, is there? I mean,
little shrimp cocktail,
really
clear out the sinuses.
The Pacers in town.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's not going to be great. Well, have fun up there, Corey.
Real quick, when do they talk? When do the Titans talk?
Tuesday and Wednesday. I think I can't remember what the order was. They're both at noon. It might be Saleh, then Borgo, Tuesday, and then Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday is Borgo because I think he's talking the exact same time that Vrabel and Mike McDonald are.
Oh, yes.
So,
there we go.
So we'll have a quaint little setting for Mike Borgonzi.
That's what I'm talking about. There we go.
But the same. So Wednesday is also the day all the defensive linemen and edge rushers are talking. Oh. And so that's the day we get to meet all those guys, which is kind of what I'm looking forward to.
We go.
Sure.
Corey Curtis, brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic, joins us every Monday morning at 8:00 here on the program.
Right.
We'll see you later, Corey. We'll react to what Corey had to say coming up next. Take your thoughts on Joe's favorite event of the year, the NFL Combine, and also USA taking down Canada in the gold medal game. A lot of reaction to that. We'll continue that discussion. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We are brought to you by Green Ventures Landscaping for homes and businesses that want to stand out, not blend in. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. Team USA wins the gold medal yesterday, 2-1 in overtime against Team Canada. Jack Hughes with the game winner in overtime for the Americans, and Connor Hellebuck putting together a legendary performance. The first gold medal for the men's hockey team since 1980 in the Miracle on Ice, which, by the way, that was not the gold medal game. They did beat Finland in the gold medal game.
That is true.
That was actually
People
not a gold medal
that.
game. It was a round-robin tournament, and you ended up with points. So, long time, 46 years to the day since they beat the Soviets that year, and now they've won the gold medal again. Awesome stuff yesterday, Joe. We talked a lot about it throughout the show. A lot of people have weighed in. We welcome more of those, 615-737-1025. I mean, the pace of the game was incredible. It was hockey at its absolute highest level. And, we've said it, what I wanted in this tournament, Joe, was the United States to win the gold medal. I mean, that was at the baseline of what I wanted. But I really wanted the United States to win the gold medal against Team Canada. And I wanted to see that matchup. And, it was not – I wouldn't call yesterday's game necessarily back and forth. I think a lot of it was Team USA holding on. And to their credit, their goaltender played out of his mind. But yesterday is exactly why I wanted to see it. Like, it's the best on best. That was as good of what hockey's got to offer yesterday. And what a moment for hockey in this country with Jack Hughes scoring the game winner and winning the gold medal in overtime.
Yeah, incredible game. Like you said, Canada was in control out of the game. The expected goals, I guess, was 5.96 for Canada, 1.96 for the United States. But, the talk about, well, this team's better than that team. Well, on this day, Team USA won, and also your team includes your goalie.
It does.
And that goalie is the best player on the ice, and like as we just talked about, it should have been the MVP of the tournament. But that's one of the greatest clutch performances I've seen in sports, truly. When you think about the best player in the world having a breakaway, and you can say McDavid screwed up or whatever, but the bottom line is he stopped a McDavid breakaway. He stopped a Celebrini breakaway. He had the paddle save, which is like, I mean, that's just.
You'll be watching that save 25 years from now.
Yeah. And by the way, they killed off 1:44, I think, of 5-on-3.
Perfect penalty kill in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Which is in itself impressive.
No doubt. Just incredible sporting event. People complaining about 70. It looked to me like people got up and were able to watch it. I saw a lot of great video scenes all over the country. I thought one of my favorites was Matt Boldy's mom, like, is a bartender at this bar. And they had that place rocking. I had friends doing shots with like some big wooden board. I mean, like, I don't even know what the heck that is, but they were doing shots at 9 a.m. People figured it out. Pretty amazing. I'm interested to see like the ratings. I'm sure it'll be good. Yeah, like you said earlier, obviously you could have more of a midday game or a night game. Maybe you'd have better numbers, but I feel like the whole country got kind of swept up in this, which is awesome. And it's just for the sport. It's really cool.
Yep. Let's head to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Doug to the program. Doug, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, man.
Good.
Just wondering what your thoughts are. How many of the Canada's silver medals ended up in the trash can in the locker room?
That's a good question. Thank you, Doug. I don't know about the silver medals, but I guarantee you a few of those stuffed animals or whatever they were that they handed out in the ceremony, those probably ended up in the trash.
Yeah, when did that start?
I don't know. I was sitting, I saw him do it obviously for the women's final as well. And I guess I don't know the backstory of the stuffed animals. Frankly, I haven't looked into it enough to really care all that much. But I did, like, particularly when I saw the look on Nathan McKinnon's face. It would be one thing, they did the silver medals, and then they went back through and gave them, like, the stuffed animals, too. It's like, maybe just capture that all at once.
Oh, by the way, I got guys a little more for you
to go through here. And just the look on McKinnon and McDavid's face in particular when they were handing them these stuffed animals was just unbelievable.
Speaking of McKinnon, he had the quote that's getting massive circulation, which you judge which of these teams is better. I mean, first of all, it's not figure skating, so the judging which team was better doesn't really have any sort of role. You said it earlier. I'd like to hear like the whole quote there. I mean, of course, people are bitter. There's going to be sour grapes. But, look, man, you guys had a chance and you didn't win. I mean, they beat you. And also, the 3-on-3 complaints, we all agree that it's not ideal to have 3-on-3. I will also say, I've said this last week, they're not doing 5-on-5, especially if we're going to have some back and forth on injuries. They're not doing it. They're not doing 5-on-5 overtime until you decide a game.
Wonder how long that could have lasted yesterday.
Well,
5-on-5.
Yeah, and of course, and let's the two things: the injury factor, but also the TV ruling the world factor. Like they want to get this, so it's not going to happen. But if you're Canada, yes, you lost in 3-on-3, not ideal, but like you should have won in 3-on-3. I mean, look at your team. That should be the greatest 3-on-3 team ever in the history of the sport, right? And you lost in that format. So I get it. You're bitter. It hurts. But you just got to take the L. Got to just hold that L.
Well, and you had, McDavid had a couple of chances in the 3-on-3 where he had a full head of steam. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I saw him wheeling around that first time, I was like, this ain't good. Here he comes. You better watch out. And he whiffed on that shot. And he had another one that Hellbuck made a good save on. Like, he's the best player in the world. We talked about this earlier, though. Like, at some point, he's probably going to have to win something, though, right? Like a cup, an Olympic gold medal. I mean, they won the 4 Nations last year, so yippee. But, Olympic gold medal, Stanley Cup, he's going to have to win some of those. And there's a couple different times yesterday where the game was on his stick, and he didn't do it. And Hellbuck came up big.
Yeah, and look, it's like it's awesome that this is truly a rivalry. And, Corey's right. Like, there's a big population difference and all that stuff, but still, I mean, you think about the gap that not that long ago existed in the hockey talent developing in Canada and the hockey talent developing here. By the way, here's another thing that I retweeted, or I quote tweeted yesterday. Did you see the Custance tweet?
Yeah.
Got to give a shout out to my coworker going back to the Michigan State student paper, but Craig Custance, who at the time I think probably covered hockey for ESPN. There was something about, now I'm trying to find it. I'm completely fumbling.
Oh, it was
around
from 2011.
Yeah, 2011, Craig. Yeah. Someone said USA Hockey tweeted out in 2011, USA Hockey's 8 and under membership has reached 100,000 for the first time ever. So 8 and under, 100,000 kids for the first time ever at 2011. Craig Custance tweets in 2011, look out, 2026 Olympics. Nice job, Custance. Come on.
That was making the rounds yesterday. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
15 years later. Pays off. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. More of your reaction to Team USA winning the gold medal against Team Canada yesterday. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Here's McDavid moving in on Jack Hughes. Tries to slow him down. Puck winds up behind the net. And it's Werenski. Now Jack Hughes puts it around the car. United States with numbers. Back across it comes. Jack Hughes wins it. The golden goal for the United States. For the first time since the 1980 miracle, the United States takes the gold. Jack Hughes beating Jordan Bennington.
Overtime, anything can happen. I mean, they have very skilled players. We have very skilled players. It's just up and down the rink, kind of like a little grudge match, like who's going to make the first mistake, who's going to give up the first odd man rush. And just a good play by Larkson Z getting up the ice. And then obviously Z found me.
That's Jack Hughes after the golden goal yesterday. Team USA wins in overtime 2-1 against Team Canada. A lot of Freebird yesterday, Joe. A lot of Freebird that I blasted out there. I think Freebird probably the most popular song in the country yesterday.
I got to say, Freebird, I'll take that a million times over Gloria. Holy crap. No disrespect to Laura Branigan, but man, let's play some Skinner, like Freebird's always good. Thank goodness we didn't adopt like Tony Basil Mickey or some other like pop song from 1982.
Well, I mean, it just
play some Skinner.
You hear the goal there. Great call by Kenny Albert. Thought he did an outstanding job in the tournament. Great call on the goal yesterday. But there's just Freebird blaring in the background in the aftermath of it. You let it breathe a little bit.
Absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. Yeah, Albert was great. Eddie Olczyk, and I'd forgotten. He was like one of the key guys in the '84 Olympics in Sarajevo, which I sadly, dating myself, watched that intently. Didn't go as well for Team USA and that, but I mean, he was, there's a guy who was 14 when the Miracle on Ice happened in 1980. And then 4 years later, he's playing in the Olympics, and then he's pretty cool to have him on the call. And of course, he went to the freaking Blackhawks, and
there's that.
Didn't go that great there. I mean, he was good, good player for a long time in the NHL. Tirico was also, I thought, I love the Tirico Olczyk kind of between periods banter, and Tirico is pretty hard to beat as an all around. What he's been doing here in the last few weeks, pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, I thought, back in the days when the NHL was on NBC, obviously Eddie Olczyk was with Doc Emmerich primarily, did a great job. I always thought Catherine Tappan was really good, and she was really good again yesterday. So I just thought the whole broadcast was. I tell you what I really like, what multiple people were talking about yesterday, and this is an Olympic thing. It's not really an NBC thing. It's just an Olympic thing, but no commercials in the period. You just go right through, baby. I loved it.
Yeah,
just keep it going.
That's a good point. Yeah, no doubt. So just 7 a.m. for us, but well worth it to wake up and even to scream as I'm driving in the car when that goal goes in. A lot of people will have those like, where was I type things.
It was one of those sporting events that, particularly if you're already kind of invested in hockey, like I was all into it. And I know a lot of people who don't watch hockey normally very much into it yesterday. So really cool stuff. Just really cool stuff yesterday. Legendary stuff from Connor Hellebuck. I mean, that's the type of game that kind of changes your legacy moving forward here. And I don't know what, I don't know if he's ever going to lead Winnipeg to a Stanley Cup or what that's going to look like. And he's 32. So we'll see, how much longer he can play at this level. But, he's a Hall of Famer now. Like that's what yesterday did for him. He will be a Hall of Famer. So,
Alex Doherty said earlier, talking about like Preds fans of Saros, because Saros was really good in this tournament. Good for him. It's great to see. Again, the Canada game, that was, if you actually watch the game, some people commented on it and no way they actually watched it. You had to be awfully impressed with what he did. And it was like trying to hold off an avalanche, in that game. But Doherty mentioned, okay, so maybe Saros can do that. And maybe he's found something, and, we'll see the rest of the way. The interesting thing with Hellebuck is, and we've talked about they're not very good this year, but like, if you're a Jets fan, it's like, well, you just broke my heart, Connor. At some point, I need you to be a Conn Smythe winner and do that in an entire tournament in the spring here in North America.
Yeah, I mean, look, Hellebuck was in goal for the 2018 series between the Predators and the Jets.
He
Like,
sure
he's
was
been doing it for a long time, man.
And there were some games in that series where the Preds lit him up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
But, well, you know, 1 Game 7.
1 Game 7. And, yeah, yesterday, to me, well, that was as good as hockey gets. Like, it's a high-level game. I don't know what the impact is going to be. Yeah, I would assume and I would hope that, particularly with, you know, probably the younger generation, like, they're always going to know who Jack Hughes is now. Like, Jack Hughes, Connor Hellebuck, I mean, they're going to be in USA hockey lore from what they just did yesterday. And it's, you know, people keep making the Miracle on Ice comparison. It's not the same thing. Like, it's not the same. Like, the circumstances are different. It's not like, you know, the USA were underdogs in this game. It wasn't like gigantic underdogs. I mean, they were like tournament co-favorites heading into it. So it's not the same sort of situation, but it is a big deal. And, you know, the fastest, you said it earlier, and I would agree, that's probably the fastest hockey game I've seen just in terms of the pace of it. And I think that is how you create fans. And I was going to talk about this in the rant, and then we pivoted a little bit, but like, if you're the NHL, I'm sure the numbers are going to come out today of how watched it was. I'm sure there are a lot of eyeballs on that game yesterday. And I understand that there's a risk for your players getting hurt. But you can't tell me for your sport, after the conversation of that game yesterday, and it's lingering into this morning, and it's going to linger around for a while of people like talking about that game. You can't tell me it's not worth it. Like, it's absolutely worth it. No Stanley Cup final will have the eyeballs that you had on your sport yesterday.
Yeah, and I'd like to hear from that side, because people will also bring out, well, how are the Kings feeling today? And I understand that, but there is absolutely a big picture here that I think that hockey has failed at way too often over the years. Like you said, I think what you see in some sports is you see fans of players, and you don't see that as much in hockey. So maybe like a Jack Hughes, right? With everything that went into that, including getting his teeth knocked out of his head.
Yeah.
And then, you know, making that play. I mean, that's, like you said, it's legendary stuff. Because, you know, it's just, I just, you know, Corey made the point earlier about curling and figure skating, and that's true. Gymnastics in the Summer Olympics, like, there are some sports that we are conditioned every 4 years to care about, get into. I mean, again, even watching people swim or run, like, that's what you do. But the difference here is, like, this is one of our four major sports in the country.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, I mean, there's a following. There's a growing youth participation number and all that stuff. So I understand it. And I'm not saying this is all of a sudden going to start taking over football or anything like that. But, this should help. And this should convince the people in charge that it's worth it.
Look, I've watched, at this point in my life, thousands of hockey games. I have. Like, I've watched thousands of hockey games in my life. And there are a handful that stick out in terms of, like, ones that you remember. I'll tell you 2 of them. 2010 gold medal game and yesterday. And it will always be that way. Like, and it's not the only 2. Like, there have been some great NHL games that I can remember. I mean, look, I remember basically every game from the 2017 Predators run because I was covering it. Like, I remember the details of, like, all of it. But, like, as a general sports fan, how long are we going to remember that basketball game a couple years ago between Team USA and France? It was awesome in the gold medal game. Yesterday was awesome. Like, it's a great day to be an American sports fan yesterday. And I think that there's a big deal in that. And beyond, like, what it's going to do for, like, kids growing up wanting to play hockey, like, yesterday was an awesome day to be a hockey fan in the United States. And I just think sometimes you have to look at it and say, yep, that's probably worth it if you're the NHL.
100%. And then for some, like John in the YouTube chat, he says, this is my Super Bowl. Watching Canadians melt down collectively across social media is amazing.
Some are not handling it well.
Yeah. Who's the guy who really got ratioed from Toronto?
Oh, I'm trying to keep up with all the stuff I saw yesterday.
He was doing the 3-on-3 thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like, well, we all agree on this. Like,
I would like to see the 5-on-5.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but I just don't see how that team with their players could have a problem with 3-on-3
Yeah.
settling it.
By the way,
that should be advantage Canada.
By the way, Canada just won a 3-on-3 overtime game not that long ago, just a few games ago. Nobody was complaining about it then.
Right.
Sidney Crosby's golden goal, it wasn't 5-on-5. It was 4-on-4.
4-on-4.
It's a little bit different.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not the same as 3-on-3. There's different strategy involved, but it's not like that was 5-on-5 either. Nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be all right.
Hold the L.
Hold the L. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Tennessee wins over the weekend against Vanderbilt. We'll get you caught up on a very busy weekend on the college basketball front. That's coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. It's been a glorious morning. Got my USA hockey jersey on, soaking in the glorious victory against the Canadians. It's probably the only day we get to really talk about it in detail, so I've enjoyed today's show.
I think I think that when Kaharski comes on Wednesday, we need to get at least a little bit of analysis from him.
Live
right?
from the NFL Combine, let's discuss U.S. Canada.
I'd like to, like to hear what he did for the game.
I would
whatever,
too.
Well, we got to remember to ask him that amid all the questions about whatever the heck whoever said at the stupid combine.
PK, tell us about the long jump taking place today.
Yeah, Daniel asked what kind of reaction held. We talked about that earlier. It's like, Connor, you're amazing, and why did you beat Canada, Connor?
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
It's like, I mean, you gotta give the guy love, right? But it's like, it's
Austin
Canada
Matthews
losing to the United States in hockey it's not good.
Yeah, Austin Matthews is going to get a standing O in Toronto. It'll be good.
How about that?
Way to go, buddy! Nice job.
Probably not.
Tennessee with a win, 69-65 against Vanderbilt on the road this weekend, Joe. Obviously, it's a big win for Tennessee. Those two teams will meet again in early March to close out the regular season. So we'll see if Vanderbilt can rise up and get the split at that point, or if Tennessee takes both in the regular season against the Doors. But what did you make of the Vols going on the road and taking down Vanderbilt on Saturday?
Really impressive. Really impressive. I thought it was just a tremendously physical, competitive game, just like you'd hope for an in-state rivalry. I thought that Duke Miles made a difference coming back for Vanderbilt, but Tennessee's clear defensive priority was Tyler Nickel is not going to breathe in this game. Tyler Nickel will not get a clean look at the basket. He got one on a little scramble situation, a great pass from Tyler Tanner, and he hit it. It was a big three late in the game. But essentially, Tennessee took him out. Now, Vanderbilt did a great job throwing different people at Nate Ament, and they made it tough on him. And Chandler Bing probably played defense as well as you can play defense on the shot that ended up winning the game. Now, by the way, Ament did double dribble on that play. I think the refs thought that the ball got knocked out of his hands. He was dribbling. He picked up his dribble. He dropped it. He picked it back up. As soon as you pick it back up, it's a double dribble. They didn't call it. I know Byington said like it was a shovel. He might have shoveled his feet, but whatever. There was a double dribble. They missed it. He also hit an incredibly tough shot right there over Chandler Bing to win it. And I thought Tennessee's other freshmen were really good in this game. And I expect another great game when they play. Like right now, Vanderbilt got put on the 4 seed by the committee Saturday. To me, this bumps them down to the 5 line. I think that's where Tennessee is too. They're both teams that I think if they finish strong could end up, among the top 4 seeds. So it was a great game. Here's a possible, as Jake Lyman sits in the studio, possible topic, for you, Jake, or you may not want to touch this. I was disappointed in Vanderbilt fans. And maybe I'm overreacting because, as Corey said, it's a much bigger fan base for Tennessee. There's 1 million Tennessee fans who live here, right? But I just thought it'd be a little bit more of a home advantage for Vanderbilt in this game than it was. And, the fact that Vanderbilt had to kind of solicit students coming out early in the week, it's a little bit, given how good this team is and really how good both of their teams are. And by the way, great win for the Vandy women with Jake Lyman on the call yesterday against Kentucky. Unbelievable game. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more home court advantage for Vanderbilt in that game.
Yeah, that was a big talking point after the game, really from both sides. A lot of Tennessee fans were, hey, look how many people we had in the building. Have some of that, Vanderbilt. And I did see some Vanderbilt fans upset of like, how could we let this happen? Like, how could you let Tennessee fans be as prevalent as they were in this game? Like, this is the shot I was trying to find earlier. Like, Tennessee basketball put out like the shot of them walking off the court after the game. And there's just it's a flood of orange in there. There's a lot of orange in there, which, we talked about that last week. I didn't really know what to expect, but with Vanderbilt having the season that they're having, you would thought that would have been mitigated a little bit, and it wasn't. There are a lot of Tennessee fans that live in Nashville. I understand that. A lot of Tennessee fans at that game on Saturday.
Yeah, some of the seats, it's like that's like a really good Vandy season ticket holder seat. Like it's like if you're going to have those seats, why would you sell? You can probably make some money because
pay for your entire season tickets in like 1 or 2 games.
Yeah,
between
with
Kentucky and Tennessee.
Basketball? Yeah,
you get pretty close between those 2 games.
Well, then I would say let someone else buy season tickets. Again, some of these seats are really good. and it just seemed like they had really good seats. If you're a Vanderbilt fan who's mad at other Vanderbilt fans, I'm not mad at you. How about that?
There you go. Get after him, Lyman. That was Rexrode's coaching point there.
I want you to spend your whole show ripping Vanderbilt fans, please. There you go. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
He looks excited right now.
He looks really thrilled to do that. Well, we'll see how it goes at the end of the year. Like the Tennessee, again, we come back to the same, like they're playing pretty well right now. And you think about what we'd be talking about with them had they not just totally blown the 2 Kentucky games. Like we talked earlier about Kentucky. What would we be talking about with them had they not won the 2 Tennessee games? Like Tennessee would be one of the hotter teams in the country right now had they just held on to some leads against Kentucky.
Yeah, they'd be 22-5. They'd be pushing for an SEC championship. They'd be like a 3 seed.
Yeah,
3-4. Yeah. So those games happened. They are getting better. I'm a little concerned. JP Estrella didn't play.
Yep.
And knowing that, I didn't like their chances. But again, Dwayne Brown comes in, gives you 30 minutes, 8 points, 4 rebounds, steal and a block, 4 for 7 from the field, just solid. And that's what they needed because Akpara only played 16 minutes. He had foul trouble, and he does some things for this team, but there are limitations with him too. And with Dwayne Brown, much better than I think anyone expected. I think a lot of people going the year were like, there's just you're not going to get much from that guy. So these freshmen are getting better under Rick Barnes, and there's a definite upward trajectory with this team. Once again, Rick Barnes can coach a little basketball.
He can. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the season closes out there. We mentioned college basketball overall. 5 top 10 teams went down this weekend. Now, some of them played each other, so there is that. But pretty big weekend in college basketball.
It was. And by the way, I would be remiss not to mention this. Really appreciate Rick Barnes, what he said before the game, what he said after the game about Wes Rucker.
Yep.
Stephen Pearl had some really nice comments after his game, talking about being covered by Wes as a player at Tennessee. Vanderbilt leaves a space for him, and as we knew, Vol Twitter, for all of its foibles, okay, it's above 700,000 now raised for Wes Rucker's family. So big shout out to everyone involved in that.
Yep, really, really good stuff. Really good stuff to see, and like I said, not necessarily surprising. We knew that Vol Twitter would step through that way, but really good stuff to see on that front. That does it for us today here on the program. Hope everybody has a great rest of their Monday. Enjoy being Olympic gold medal champions in this country in hockey. We'll be back tomorrow. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.